Financial freedom. It's the dream we all chase, but what if I told you it's not about how much you earn, but how smartly you spend? Today we're diving into the art of balancing fun and finances, because who says you can't have your cake and eat it too?
Oh, that's an intriguing perspective. So, are we talking about some kind of money magic here?
Well, not exactly magic, but definitely some clever strategies that can make a big difference. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you can enjoy life without breaking the bank. Let's start with something fun. Family activities. Who says you need to spend a fortune to have quality time with your loved ones?
Hmm, that's a good point. Any specific ideas you've come across?
Absolutely. One of my favourites is what I call a park crawl. It's like a bar crawl, but way more family friendly and much easier on the wallet. You plan a route to visit several parks in one day. Kids love the variety, and it's a super inexpensive way to spend time outdoors. Plus, if you pack a picnic, you've got yourself a memorable day without the hefty restaurant bills.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's like a mini adventure, and you're right, kids would go crazy for that. It's also a great way to explore your local area and maybe even discover some hidden gems you didn't know about.
Exactly. And you know what? This kind of thinking can be applied to so many aspects of family fun. Take movie nights, for example. Instead of shelling out for expensive cinema tickets and overpriced popcorn, why not create a cozy movie night at home?
Now you're speaking my language. Streaming services have so many options these days, and you can make your own popcorn and snacks for a fraction of the cost. Plus, you can pause for bathroom breaks without missing anything.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the comfort factor. You can wear your pajamas, curl up under a blanket, and not worry about other people talking during the movie. But I think one of the most powerful ideas when it comes to saving money is the concept of no-spend days or weekends. Have you ever tried that?
I've heard of it, but I've never given it a shot. How does it work exactly?
Well, the idea is to designate one weekend a month as a no-spend weekend. Instead of going out and spending money, you find free or low-cost activities like hiking, biking, or exploring local events. It's a great way to get creative and appreciate the simple things in life. Plus, it helps build that habit of saving without feeling like you're missing out on life.
That's such an interesting concept. I can see how it could really make you more mindful of your spending habits, and I imagine it could lead to some pretty creative and fun experiences too.
Absolutely. And these small adjustments can make a big difference over time. It's not about never spending money on fun things. It's about being more intentional with your spending and finding value in experiences that don't cost a lot. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about socializing with friends. We all love hanging out with our buddies, but those nights out can add up quickly if we're not careful.
Oh, tell me about it. I've had months where I've looked at my bank statement and wondered where all my money went, only to realise it was all those just one drink nights that turned into full-blown evenings out.
Right? But there are ways to keep the social life active without draining the bank account. One of the simplest is just being open with your friends about your budget. It can be awkward at first, but in my experience, when you're upfront about watching your spending, your friends are usually understanding. They might even be relieved because they're in the same boat.
That's so true, and it can lead to some creative and fun alternatives, like instead of always meeting at expensive bars or restaurants, why not host get-togethers at home?
Exactly. It's often much cheaper than dining out, and you can create exactly the atmosphere you want. Plus, if you make it a potluck, everyone can contribute and share the cost. And speaking of cost sharing, let's not forget about taking advantage of happy hours and BYOB nights. These can seriously cut down on the cost of going out.
Those are definitely game changers. It's all about finding those sweet spots where you can enjoy a nice meal or drink without the usual markup. And you know what? I think these strategies don't just save you money, they can actually make your social life more interesting and varied.
You're absolutely right. It encourages you to try new things and be more creative with your time. And let's not forget another important point. It's okay to say no sometimes. The fear of missing out can be a real budget buster if we're not careful.
That's such a good reminder. It's about prioritising the outings that really matter to you and not feeling guilty about skipping the rest. Your true friends will understand and your wallet will thank you.
Exactly. Now, we've talked a lot about saving money on fun and social activities, but there's another side to this coin: increasing your income. Because let's face it, having more money coming in can make it easier to balance fun and financial responsibility. Any thoughts on boosting earning potential?
Well, with the rise of the gig economy, side jobs are more accessible than ever. Freelancing, part-time work, or even selling handmade items online can be great ways to bring in extra income without quitting your day job.
Those are excellent suggestions. And let's not forget about investing in yourself through upskilling. Taking courses or getting certifications can enhance your career prospects and potentially lead to higher paying roles. It's an investment in yourself that often pays off in the long run. And speaking of paying off, let's talk about asking for a raise. It can be intimidating, but it's an important skill to develop.
Oh, you're right about that. It can be nerve-wracking, but if you're doing good work and adding value, it's worth having that conversation. Any tips on how to approach it?
Absolutely. The key is to prepare a solid case by highlighting your contributions and any additional responsibilities you've taken on. It's important to approach the conversation with a positive attitude and be prepared to discuss specific achievements. Remember, even if you don't get the raise immediately, the conversation itself can be valuable. It shows initiative and can open up discussions about your career path within the company.
That's such good advice. It's all part of managing your career proactively, which is a crucial aspect of financial fitness. As we wrap up this discussion, I'm struck by how interconnected all these elements are. Smart spending on fun, socializing on a budget, and maximizing your income. They're all part of the bigger picture of financial wellness.
You've hit the nail on the head there. It's about finding that balance where you can enjoy life, nurture your relationships, and still work towards your financial goals. It's not always easy, but it's definitely possible. Financial fitness doesn't mean cutting out all the things you love. It's about being intentional with your spending, investing in yourself, and finding creative ways to enjoy life without breaking the bank.
That's so true. It's about making conscious, smart choices that align with your values and goals. And it's important to remember that it's a journey. You don't have to perfect everything overnight.
Exactly right. Small, consistent steps can lead to big changes over time. So whether it's planning a park crawl with your kids, hosting a potluck with friends, or asking for that well-deserved raise, every action counts. And you know what? These strategies can be especially helpful during tough economic times or when you're working towards a big financial goal.
Oh, that's such a good point. It's not about never having fun. It's about finding ways to have fun that align with your long-term goals. And I think that mindset shift can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that this approach can actually lead to more satisfaction in the long run. When you're intentional about your spending and your activities, you tend to appreciate them more. That £5 coffee from a fancy cafe might taste even better when it's an occasional treat rather than a daily habit.
That's so true. It's like the concept of hedonic adaptation. We tend to get used to luxuries pretty quickly, so constantly upping the ante doesn't necessarily lead to more happiness.
Well, you've nailed it. And that ties back into our discussion about career and income as well. While it's important to strive for growth and higher earnings, it's equally important to learn how to manage and appreciate what you have. It's not just about making more money, but about making the most of the money you have.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that's a message that a lot of people need to hear, especially in a culture that often equates success with spending power.
You're absolutely right. It's about redefining what success and enjoyment mean to you. Maybe success is having the financial freedom to take a lower paying job that you're passionate about. Or maybe it's being able to retire early because you've been smart with your money. The key is to align your financial habits with your personal values and goals.
That's such a powerful idea. It's not about following someone else's blueprint for success, but creating your own.
Exactly. Whether it's finding creative ways to have fun on a budget, being smart about socializing, or maximizing your earning potential, it's all about taking control of your financial life. And the best part is, these skills compound over time. The more you practice them, the better you get, and the more financial freedom you create for yourself. Well, it looks like we're coming to the end of our time. Any final thoughts?
Just that this conversation has been eye-opening. It's clear that with a bit of creativity and intentionality, we can all find ways to enjoy life while still being financially responsible. It's not about deprivation. It's about smart choices and aligning our spending with our values.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Remember, listeners, financial fitness is within your reach. It's all about finding that sweet spot where your money works for you, not against you. Here's to smart spending, maximising income, and most importantly, enjoying the journey.